Hello, my name's Joe Hardesty, and I'm the library director to the Sons of the American Revolution Library in Louisville, Kentucky. We're located on historic Museum Row in downtown Louisville, and we would be delighted if you were to come to visit us in person or visit us online at sar.org and search our amazing collection. We'd be delighted to have you visit us at any time. One of the resources that I wanted to share with you today is a record group that a lot of family history researchers either forget to research or would like to know more about it, and that's city directories. City directories have been published back into the mid to early 19th century, and they're published in most major cities. Small towns or villages probably didn't have city directories merely because of the publisher's decision whether it was profitable enough to publish a city directory. But most mid to large cities in the United States had city directories that were published. And think of a city directory as a telephone book that has all kinds of additional information in it. For example, you would find the occupation, usually, of the head of household, where they lived, the address of their employer, and perhaps their occupation as well. Another nice thing about city directories is it's usually published every year. Sometimes you'll find someone in a 1860 census, but they weren't there in the 1870. Where did they go? You might search an 1861 census, an 1861 city directory, 1862 city directory, and follow that person year by year in that location to see at what point did they drop off the city directory listings. And there's a really cool trick that I'll show you about using city directories in a census search here shortly. One other consideration to keep in mind when you're searching city directories is that oftentimes they're out of date the year they were published. So if you were looking for someone in the year 1905 in Cincinnati, you would want to check a 1906 city directory. That would show where they lived in the previous year. So just remember that the information in a city directory is not accurate at the time of publication. It's usually a year out of date. So just bear that in mind. So the next question is, well, how do I get to these city directories? I'm at home, it's 1 o'clock in the morning and I can't sleep. I want to search city directories for an ancestor. Well, there's several ways to do that, and some of them are free. So let's show you an example of what we're talking about. I'm going to take my mouse and I'm going to click on ancestrycom. Now, if you happen to have a subscription to Ancestry, that's fine. Just follow along. If you don't, that's okay too. I'm going to show you a free way to search for city directories. Here we are in Ancestry, and I'm going to scroll down the screen. That's always very good to do when you're researching. Scroll down. And there at the bottom is the city directory collection for Ancestry. And you'll see here on the right that it's broken down by country, and the USA has over 984 city directories in its collection for you. You can click on the country of your choice and it'll drill you down further, and that's one way to search a directory without having a name. But let's suppose you do have a name of an ancestor that you're researching. And in the first name box, I'm going to do an example of Thomas Mattingly. And I have reason to believe, according to a family Bible, let's say, that he was living in Baltimore, Maryland. And you'll see that Ancestry even provides us with the way how to populate that box. Now I know also that he was in Baltimore in the early 1900s, so I'm going to put in a year of 1900. I'm not sure when he arrived there or when he left there, but I have reason to believe, again, through a Bible record, that he was living in Baltimore then. And I'm going to fiddle fart with these settings just a little bit, and I'm going to search within 5 years of 1900 for Baltimore. And lastly, I'm going to also click Match All Terms Exactly. It's possible that it was known by Tom or just the initial T, so I'm going to go ahead and highlight that settings boxes as well. Now I'm going to click search, and let's see what we come up with. And sure enough, we have just one hit. Here is Thomas Mattingly living in Baltimore in 1903. And but there's more. So let's take our mouse and click on the link here. And it shows that he lived at 1518 Battery Ave. We could click on the thumbnail, and voila. Now, what happens oftentimes is that they will highlight his name, and by using this slide bar over here on our right, we can increase the size of the print so that you could see easier. And let's scroll around, and there he is. Here's Thomas H. Mattingly at 1518 Battery Avenue. Now this particular individual does not show his occupation or where he worked, if he worked at all. But if you scroll down further, you'll see where others were a painter or a tailor, and their address at the time in 1903 in Baltimore. Now here's an interesting trick. I was saying that we could use city directories when we're doing census research, and that's true. I have every reason to believe that Thomas Mattingly was in the 1900 census, but I couldn't find him. I looked and looked and looked, took a break, went to have dinner, played with my kids, went back to searching census records again for Baltimore and even surrounding areas, and still could not find Thomas Mattingly in the 1900 census anywhere in Maryland. So here's the trick I'm going to show you. You're going to want to take a pencil or pen and jot down the address, 1518 Battery Ave. Just make a note of that. And let's go back to our search screen. Let's go to search all results. And I'm going to edit this search. Let's click on edit search. Let's get rid of his name, since we're not finding him in the census. And down in the keyword box, down here, I'm going to type in Battery Ave. His house address is not all that important, but I'm going to keep, I'm going to play around with this search a little bit from 1900 and tighten it up a little to plus or minus 2 years. And I'm going to do the search again, and let's see what happens. All right, so here is a city directory for a fellow named John Cochran, who lived at 1414 Battery Avenue in 1899. Very good. Here is a 1902 directory listing for Julia North. Another 1902 directory listing for John Mannon. Here's 1901 for William Dashields. Now you remember what I said, that a city directory is often out of date the year it was published. So William Daschle was living on Battery Avenue, according to this, in 1900. I might look for his name in the 1900 census, and I would bet dollars to donuts that somewhere on that page, or above it, or below that census image, we would find Thomas Mattingly. At least that would be my hope. So that's a search strategy that you might consider when looking for an ancestor on a census and you just can't find them. Look for him in a city directory around that census taking. But what if you don't have a subscription to Ancestry? How can you get to online city directories from home at no cost? Well, here's how. I'm going to go over to a website called Heritage Quest. Some of you may be familiar with that. Heritage Quest is a subscription database that many public libraries subscribe to on behalf of their patrons. And in this case, I went to my public library's website, Louisville Free Public Library, and I logged in to Heritage Quest using my library card and my password. So if you're thinking of accessing any records on Heritage Quest, contact your local public library, ask if they subscribe to Heritage Quest, and if they do, you'll need to have a valid library card and know what your password is. Every public library's policy regarding that access could be different, so you'll just need to make a phone call if you're not familiar with Heritage Quest. But I've gone ahead and logged into Heritage Quest, and it'll look just like this when you log into it from home. And right there is City Directories. Right there. And we're going to click on that link, and you'll see that this is almost identical to the City Directory collection available to you through Ancestry. So you could search it the same way that I just showed you. And here's the last thought I'll say about City Directories. They're a valuable resource. Most public libraries will have city directories for their community and perhaps for surrounding communities. The larger city libraries will have bigger collections. And also remember that often a university library will also have a collection of city directories. So feel free to contact your local university and see what they may have in their collection. So just remember to search city directories as an aid or a tool in your family history research toolbox. Well, thank you for watching this video tutorial, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Be sure to visit us online at sar.org and click the library tab to learn more about this library, and be sure to visit us in person. So thanks, have a great day, and take care. Bye.